Hello and welcome to the two-man power trip of wrestling. I am your host, JP John Poz, right here on the two-man power trip of wrestling podcasting empire, part of the TMPT feed here each and every week on the show, talking about some top tens. And we're doing today the top 10 best Royal Rumbles of all time. That is the best Royal Rumble matches, aka the 30-man over the top rope Royal Rumble match. That's what we're going to talk about. Not the other good matches that may have taken part in the show. Maybe you're thinking maybe Bret Hart versus Razor Ramon or something along that ilk, but no, we're just focusing strictly right now on the Royal Rumble matches. Before we get into that, you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Two Man Power Trip. Check out the website patreon.com/TMPT Empire. Go to TeePublic, tpublic.com/store/TMPT. Get your Hogan era the Hitman, and Two Man Power Trip gear today. So we're going to be talking about the best Royal Rumbles of all time. In my way, in my thought process and what I think are the best. You can leave your comments or like you'd like to do, leave me some messages on Instagram or Twitter and tell me what do you think are the best Royal Rumbles of all time? What are your favorite Royal Rumbles? What did I miss? What did I keep out? What did I ignore? What did I should have mentioned that didn't mention as far as the Royal Rumble is concerned. But let's get started here. Of course, what I always like to do, I'd like to talk about some honorable mentions as far as being a great Royal Rumble, but will not be mentioned in the top 10. I have a couple. Number one on the honorable mention list here is one I don't know, maybe people maybe slept on or didn't think of or aren't really too big of fans of, but I'll throw this out there. I won't put up the graphic because I don't have a graphic for this one, but I just thinking of this 1994. I don't know why I love that Royal Rumble. I thought it was great, kind of a really push for Diesel in that Royal Rumble as he was pretty damn dominant. But the finish is great. Bret Hart and Lex Luger both fall and land on their feet at the same time. So I feel like that was a cool one, and that was definitely a great honorable mention just as far as the Royal Rumble and what possible. So 1994 Royal Rumble, one of my favorites, one of the ones that I will go back and I will watch each and every year just because I really enjoy that Royal Rumble. Just didn't make the top 10, even though perhaps it could have and maybe even should have, but it just didn't make the list as far as me and as far as this list of top 10 Royal Rumbles. But I'll throw it out there. I do like 1994 with Bret and Luger being the double winners. So it's my first honorable mention. I throw it out there. 2024 Royal Rumble. Maybe some people liked it. Maybe some people did not. I did enjoy it. I thought it was a really good one. Of course, that was in St. Petersburg, Florida, over at Tropicana Field. The men's Royal Rumble winner, Cody Rhodes, winning his second Royal Rumble. Of course, that would lead on to the championship match at WrestleMania 40, where he dethroned Roman Reigns in his 1,316-day title reign to become the new WWE Undisputed World Heavyweight Champion. The next runner-up for me, and again, going to be Cody Rhodes winning it, and it's going to be Royal Rumble 2023. I enjoyed both these Royal Rumbles. I thought they were both great back-to-back. This, of course, was in the Alamo Dome, San Antonio, Texas. Cody Rhodes, big-time victory there. Again, would go on to face Roman Reigns. This time, this was WrestleMania 39, got the loss. So basically a over year-long feud with Cody and Roman. Starting here, WrestleMania 39, and Cody loses, wins the next Royal Rumble, and then Cody wins at WrestleMania 40. But I got to put 2023 and 2024 on my two honorable mentions, both won by the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Now, here we go. Let's start the top 10. Let's see what I have. Let's see what I agree with, or see what you agree with, see what you disagree with, see what I'm definitely hitting the nail on the head with, and maybe even what I'm missing here. So let's talk little Royal Rumble. Number 10, starting out, to me, I don't know. It's just one of those great Royal Rumbles that's kind of maybe even under the radar a little bit. I loved it. It was so different. We hadn't really seen this before. It was just an awesome way to start off the Royal Rumble. Of course, we're talking about Royal Rumble 2020, which was on January 26th, Houston, Texas, at Minute Maid Park. This 30-man Royal Rumble would, of course, be for the World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania 36, which we would then find out would be in the Thunderdome. So it would have basically zero impact as far as at WrestleMania. But this Royal Rumble was basically the last huge event before COVID hit and before people started, getting screwed out of doing events that they would normally attend in mass. So that definitely hurt the WWE. They were able to do the Thunderdome era and kind of, do it well and execute everything well. But just one of those things where I feel like maybe this Rumble gets lost in the shuffle here. But Brock Lesnar at the beginning of this Royal Rumble basically ends up eliminating 13 guys, but he starts off at number 1 and just decimates and destroys everybody. Eventually, he gets eliminated by the eventual winner, who was Drew McIntyre, in a very, very fun Royal Rumble. I just love how it was so much different than any of the other Rumbles we had seen before, where one guy comes in number 1 and just completely dominates the rest of the field, where you're thinking he's going to win the whole damn thing. He's just going to dominate the whole roster. But nope, Drew comes in, Drew saves the day, and Drew McIntyre wins the 2020 Royal Rumble. That is my number 10. Number 9 would be 2007. We're going all the way back. I do love to go back and watch this Rumble. It's a lot of fun. Again, we're in San Antonio, Texas, but for this Royal Rumble, we're at the AT&T Center. This was January 28th, 2007. The winner, The Undertaker, finally eliminating Shawn Michaels. The end sequence of this is worth the price of admission itself, because they basically have a match to end the Royal Rumble. Pretty great stuff. Really, really enjoyable match. The only odd takeaway I would say is that, okay, so Undertaker wins. He eliminates Shawn Michaels last. So he moves on to WrestleMania 23. He faces Batista for the title, and it's not the main event. Shawn Michaels, who got eliminated and didn't win, it somehow ends up in the main event anyways, and he fights, obviously, John Cena in that main event. But it was very weird, because even building up and leading up to that show, we all thought that Undertaker Batista was set in stone as the main event, because Undertaker won the Royal Rumble. Kind of got screwed there, as Cena was going to become the new boy, the new guy, and they wanted him to main event against Michaels. But it's interesting to note that, if you want to talk about selling tickets and stuff, Undertaker Batista, everyone thought was going to be the main event of that WrestleMania, but nope. Undertaker ends up winning this one in a really, really good one, really fun one. If you haven't seen this one, definitely check it out. It's one of the ones where 06 was okay, 05 was okay. Like it kind of was a little stagnant, struggling, I guess you could say, for a couple of years there. And then 07 hit and Undertaker wins. I really feel like that was a really, really strong Royal Rumble itself, and a great match. And it's an interesting kind of start to the match as well, with Flair and Finlay starting it out, of all people. So kind of cool, something different, really, really unique. I really enjoyed it. So 2007, number 9 on the list. Number 8 on the list would be 2002. This one is a ton of fun. Maybe the eventual winner shouldn't have been the eventual winner, but he kind of deserved it at that point. And of course, Royal Rumble 2002, Atlanta, Georgia, Phillips Arena on January 20th. This 30-man Royal Rumble winner would get a WrestleMania 18 title shot. This Royal Rumble is very interesting just because of the returns, and usually with surprise guys you kind of don't know in advance. They actually announced the surprise guys in advance, so we kind of knew Goldust was coming back, and Mr. Perfect would be the big one. The Godfather, we'd have just an interesting kind of array of guys. Rob Van Dam would be back. So we knew it ahead of time, and we kind of were just waiting for where these surprise guys would end up popping up. An interesting little side storyline going on in this match. There was a great Undertaker Maven spot where Maven shockingly eliminates the Undertaker from the Royal Rumble, and then obviously the Undertaker destroys him afterwards. But man, that was a awesome pop and a huge shock. No one saw that, coming from a mile away. No one could see that. I mean, that was just one of those great Royal Rumble shockers, one of those great Royal Rumble surprises. And then, of course, Mr. Perfect, who I was rooting for in this Royal Rumble, he lasted a very, good amount of time, and a kind of maybe a little bit of a shocker there, but he did well. Over 15 minutes of time in there, he did well. Eventually gets eliminated by the eventual winner, who was, of course, Triple H, who went on to defeat Chris Jericho that year for the undisputed WWE Championship in the main event of WrestleMania 18. But we all know the real main event was Hulk Hogan versus The Rock that year Also, just to note, Steve Austin, Kurt Angle, Booker T, RVD, pretty star-studded Royal Rumble there in 2002. I enjoyed it. Really, really fun match. Next up, may surprise some people, but you shouldn't be. It is a great Royal Rumble, and that is 2004 at the Wachovia Center in Philly, PA. It happened on January 25th. This 30-man Royal Rumble match was for a World Championship match at WrestleMania 20, which would eventually become a triple threat match. But this Royal Rumble in 2004, which of course was won by Chris Benoit. This was one of those Royal Rumbles where it's actually unpredictable. We actually had no idea who the hell was going to win this. It just, I don't know, it just kind of shocked a lot of people. It just surprised people. We just didn't really know if it was going to be Benoit winning it. You didn't know for sure. You didn't know if he was really going to get the push. You didn't really know if he was going to be a WrestleMania main eventer. But of course, it is Chris Benoit, and he does end up winning the Royal Rumble match. Great stuff. He actually starts out number one and goes over an hour and 1 minute to win it. Really, really just terrific stuff there. Randy Orton, of course, was the second man in. So really good start, 1 and 2. Between those two, you had Scott Steiner in there. You had Booker T. You had Kane. You had Ernest the Cat Miller with a nice little surprise appearance. Of course, you had Kurt Angle. You had Mick Foley in it. Christian, Big Show, Chris Jericho, John Cena, RVD, and even Goldberg was in it. So 2004, really good one, and kind of a shocker with Benoit eliminating Big Show last to get the win. Very unpredictable. I think that's why I like it so much. And obviously, I like Benoit a lot, so that's why I'm kind of put that higher on the list maybe than some other people, but really good and really unpredictable. And that's hard to get sometimes with the Royal Rumble because usually Royal Rumbles can be very predictable. Just the order is different and how they're going to win can be unpredictable, but sometimes they can be maybe too predictable. 2004 is a good one. Definitely not predictable at all. Next up, kind of an homage to the 1991-1992 picture, the graphic, the artwork, if you will, the 2001 Royal Rumble, which happened in New Orleans, Louisiana at the New Orleans Arena. This Royal Rumble in 2001, of course, led to a championship match at WrestleMania 17 between The Rock and the eventual winner here, Stone Cold Steve Austin, who had a record-breaking third Royal Rumble win. Pretty great match, just kind of random as far as like them bringing some hardcore elements into it, kind of changing it up, making it a little different as far as not your traditional Royal Rumble as far as weapons and stuff being brought in. Obviously, some fun spots going along in the match as well, and some kind of, maybe you could say maybe jokey guys or comedy guys like Drew Carey, but I thought that was kind of cool and that was funny. Obviously, the Honky Tonk Man was a great one as well with a nice, great surprise. The Rock is in here as well. He'll last a long time, but eventually he does lose, and the eventual winner is Mr. Stone Cold Steve Austin, who actually came in at number 27 in that one. That is a fun Royal Rumble, eliminating Kane last. And Kane had quite a dominant performance, as you would notice through the years, that the big man would really, really get himself over during the Royal Rumble match. Of course, Stone Cold Steve Austin went on to WrestleMania 17 and defeat The Rock in the main event that night. Over 1 million pay-per-view buys, huge business, and maybe even you could think about it there with Austin turning heel in the main event of that match, kind of the end of the Attitude Era and the end of the wrestling boom, really, with WrestleMania 17. By hook or by crook there, Austin turns heel, gets the help of Vince McMahon, and wrestling, I don't know, wasn't as good for a while after that. It was in a little bit of a downturn, but great Royal Rumble match. Next up is a fun one. Again, I would put this into the unpredictable aspect. We're back in San Antonio, Texas. We're at the Alamo Dome. It's Royal Rumble 1997. And the winner of this match would technically not go on to WrestleMania to get a WWF World Heavyweight Championship match. The winner here is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, the reason I'm saying it's so unpredictable here, like a hindsight, you're looking back, but nobody thought Austin was going to win that. Maybe they were rooting for him. There was definitely going to be a huge upswell of Austin. He was really, really starting to get over big time. He did have the feud with Bret Hart, but everybody was just assuming it would be Bret Hart winning it. You get Bret versus HBK in a rematch, which it was supposed to be, and that was on paper supposed to happen. Of course, Michaels does defeat Sid there. He wins back to the WWF Championship, loses a smile, gives up the title, and then, of course, they have the Final Four, and then Undertaker ends up, Bret ends up with the title, then Sid, and then Undertaker beats Sid in the main event of WrestleMania 13. But one of those things where interesting way it just all happened. Bret was definitely on scale to win. They decided to do something unpredictable, something different, something really, really cool, and I loved it. Austin goes over. Austin wins, eliminates Bret Hart, and kind of shocks the world there because he was technically eliminated, but the refs were distracted. They didn't see. They were with Terry Funk. They were with Mick Foley, who were rolling on the other side of the ring. Austin cheated. He came back in, ran back in the ring, and boom, eliminates Bret Hart, cheats, and wins the Royal Rumble match. Of course, doesn't go on to get a title shot necessarily. Does end up costing Bret the title, even though Bret would end up winning it, then basically cost Bret the title against Sid, which then leads to the greatest WrestleMania match, arguably of all time, between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bret the Hitman Hart that year. But great stuff, Royal Rumble 97, and very, very unpredictable at that point. Next up, we're going old school, and it's a damn good one. A 1991 Royal Rumble, the one that the awesome poster started out with the great graphic and great artwork. Of course, Miami, Florida, the Miami Arena, January 19th, 1991. 30-man Royal Rumble match. And, of course, during the show, we'd find out that Sergeant Slaughter would defeat Ultimate Warrior with the help of Macho Man Randy Savage and win the WWF World Heavyweight Championship. We didn't know it at the time, but this Royal Rumble match, the winner would go on to face Sergeant Slaughter in the main event of WrestleMania 7. Of course, it would be Mr. Back-to-Back and Belly-to-Belly. Hulk Hogan wins his second Royal Rumble match and second Royal Rumble match in a row, last throwing out the mighty Earthquake in this one. This is a really fun one, really good one. Perhaps maybe a little bit predictable, but I just love it. And, being a big Hulkamaniac, kind of well-deserved. And I thought that it was a great, great win for the Hulkster. I love Royal Rumble 91. When I go back and watch all the Royal Rumbles, I gotta watch all the old school ones back. And that's going to basically finish off the list here, as the top three is going to be old school to the bone here. Number 3, Royal Rumble 1989 from Houston, Texas, from the Summit. The 30-man Battle Royal, of course, on January 15th, 1989, ends up being won by Big John Studd. And maybe that was a little bit of a dud to finish off, and as he eliminates DiBiase and wins the championship, wins the Royal Rumble. It's one of those things where if you really watch that match and really watch the beginning parts of the match, it is so damn good and so damn memorable. There's so many awesome moments to kind of, dissect and go through and go about it. And I talk about it on the Hogan era, but Axe and Smash starting it out is awesome. Andre the Giant being in there is great. Him being eliminated by Jake the Snake Roberts, Snake, Damien, great stuff. The double elimination of Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, a.k.a. the Brainbusters by Hogan. The double elimination of Macho Man Randy Savage and Bad News Brown by Hogan, just awesome stuff. The double elimination with Hakeem and Big Boss Man both eliminating Hulk Hogan was great. The quick elimination of Warlord. So many great moments in this match. I know it kind of fizzles out during the last third of it, but man, is this a great Royal Rumble, and pretty shocking, again, unpredictable that Big John Studd would, of course, go on and win that Royal Rumble, but that is a great one. I love Royal Rumble 1989. Man, watch it from basically 1 to 21. It's the best Royal Rumble ever, and that's why it's not making a list at number 1, because the final third of the match doesn't hold up to the final 2 on my list. Of course, the year later, 1990, the 1990 Royal Rumble from Orlando, Florida, at the Orlando Arena, January 21st, 1990, won, of course, by the immortal Hulk Hogan, winning his first Royal Rumble match and really kind of setting it off there and really making it a very, very important match, not for a title shot, not for anything else, but bragging rights, because he was the champion at that point. So nothing to prove, but there is a great Hogan Ultimate Warrior standoff in this match. It's one of the most memorable Royal Rumbles of all time. He, of course, last eliminates Mr. Perfect in one of the most memorable eliminations. Also, Rick Rude is out there and gets eliminated technically by Hogan and Mr. Perfect by accident, which is a great spot. There's so much cool things happen in this match. This match is awesome. Just to run down a few guys in the match: Jake the Snake Roberts, Macho Man Randy Savage, Roddy Piper, Bret the Hitman Hart, Bad News Brown, Dusty Rhodes, Andre the Giant, You got Haku in there, Jimmy Snuka, Earthquake is in there, the Ultimate Warrior, like I just mentioned, is in there. Rick Martel, Tito Santana, of course, the Honky Tonk Man, Shawn Michaels, Rick Rude, Hercules, Mr. Perfect, and of course, the eventual winner, the immortal Hulk Hogan. So let's wrap up with number one. What could it be? Of course, you knew it, and you probably knew it from the start. The best Royal Rumble match of all time is Royal Rumble 1992, January 19th, Albany, New York, at the Knickerbocker Arena. This match had the biggest stakes ever in the history of the Royal Rumble. The winner would be the winner of the vacant WWF World Heavyweight Championship. Your winner of this match, of course, was the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, with one of the most memorable performances of all time, last eliminating Sid Justice with a little bit of help from the immortal Hulk Hogan. Ric Flair, of course, entered in number 3, went over an hour, 5 eliminations, and ends up winning Royal Rumble 1992. I mean, if you say, is there a better Royal Rumble than this? I don't think so. The unpredictability, the fact it's for the title, the names that are in this match, it is just unbelievable. Former World Heavyweight Champions in this match, unbelievable. Just look at a crazy list of guys. You got the British Bulldog, you got $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, of course, you got Nature Boy Ric Flair. Shawn Michaels is in this match. The Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich, former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, he's in the match. You've got Greg the Hammer Valentine in the match. You've got Big Boss Man. You got Roddy Piper. You got Jake the Snake Roberts. You've got, of course, like I mentioned, Jimmy Snuka. You've got The Undertaker. Macho Man Randy Savage is in it. Colonel Mustafa, a.k.a. the Iron Sheik, a.k.a. former World Heavyweight Champion in his own right. Rick Martel, former AWA World Champion. Hulk Hogan, the greatest of all time. Sergeant Slaughter, former WWF Champion. Sid Justice, of course, former champion as well. I mean, that match is loaded and stacked, and there's some great spots involving Savage. There's some great spots involving Jake the Snake and Flair and Piper and Bossman, Hogan and Sid. It is great. It is memorable, and Flair is the 60-minute man. He is the marathon man, and he, of course, goes on and wins the 1992 WWF Royal Rumble and the WWF World Heavyweight Championship, which, of course, was vacated due to basically his interference in the Undertaker-Hulk Hogan feud. So very interesting stuff in 1992. But let's wrap this bad boy up. What did you agree with? What did you disagree with? What are you thinking is the greatest Royal Rumble of all time? Let me know. You can message me or leave a comment and let me know what you think is the greatest WWE Royal Rumble match of all time. So let's wrap this bad boy up and head towards the plugs. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at 2ManPowerTrip. Check out the website, patreon.com/TMPTEmpire. And then, of course, go to TeePublic, tpublic.com/stores/TMPT, and get your Hogan Era or Era the Hitman or TMPT gear today. I'd like to thank everybody out there for listening. See you right back here next time for the next Top 10.